welcome back to another episode of No Waco. This is your host, Debbie. Welcome back to another episode of No Waco. I'm your host, Debbie, and today we have some very special guests here in the studio. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Kevin Rivera. I am a teacher for Waco ISD, and I'm also an artist here in Waco. I've been living in Waco since I was 6 years old. My family lived here or moved here from the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
So Waco's practically home.
I love that.
I am Josh Collins. I recently moved to Waco from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
So still getting to know everything. I'm an artist, photographer, barista, and now I'm working on being a gallery curator, I guess you'd say. So, yeah, that's who I am.
Perfect. Well, welcome on. I'm so excited to have you guys here today. We are here to talk about the gallery opening happening this Friday. So today, tell me all about it. Give me more information.
Yeah, so 507 Gallery it's opening up in the back left-hand side of Thirst Coffee Shop. Yeah, it's been my dream to create a gallery space, and yeah, it's happening. I started off with an exhibition last month called Waco Walking. Thank you for everybody that came out and viewed that exhibition. It was so encouraging to see all the people that came out and kind of experienced that. And this month, we have Kevin doing a solo exhibition, Flood. And so he is going to be sharing his illustrations, his line work, and he can tell you a little bit about it more, but basically illustrating basically like human consciousness.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I actually met Josh the first time that I showed my work in public, which was my older brother. He has some photography work that he was selling at a local market, and he was like, you should come with me. And so I kind of just bit the bullet and, went with him. And Josh was one of those first people that I could see kind of connected to what I was doing, which is also very, very encouraging. And so we've kept up since then. And now that Josh is opening up this gallery, he asked me to do it. And I was like, no hesitation.
I love that.
It was kind of also the coffee shop Thirst is kind of like the perfect place. Andreas talked a little bit about what the name means and like third space theory, and I'm all into that. Like, I think that it's just the perfect place and vibe for what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and we love Andreas. He's been on the show, and just hearing the background and the space that he's cultivated and created for our community is so beautiful. And getting to do this is so awesome too. So what can we expect from the show this evening?
It's kind of, so a lot of the work stems from just conversations with myself, and it's kind of strange because I've always kind of made everything with I guess like an implied audience in mind. And so the one piece that was missing from me making all of this stuff was that nobody was seeing it. And so I think that for everybody coming in, I just want them to kind of see it as a simulation of how people experience our kind of information overload.
Yeah.
Like, and how you can kind of determine what's important or what's true, or I mean, the main goal is kind of self-determination and self-definition.
Yeah.
And so you can see that it's going to be a tad confusing, and I think I want that to be part of it.
Yeah.
And the flood aspect of it is kind of like we're inundated with all of this history and information, and the celebration or the hard part is getting out and building your own kind of future, like your own self, basically.
Wow. So very fitting with being your first ever show and getting it out in the community and building this gallery, and kind of it's just like all a message that coincides together. I also love your stylistic choice of the black and white. So that's beautiful. I love that. Do you have like a preferred medium, or what do you work with?
I like to keep the medium simple too. I use a lot of acrylic pens. And at first I was doing basically like ballpoint and paper. I've moved to some acrylic paint, but there's no motivation for me to kind of move to anything digital. Like, I think just having everything in my hands and like the human aspect of it being part of the work is very important to me.
I love that. That's amazing. What is your mission for Friday? What are you expecting? What do you want to get out of it?
I'm really, I don't know what I'm expecting, honestly. I am more excited to see how the audience interacts with it and what their experience is with it. And I think talking with Josh has made me realize that none of the pieces are actually complete until
someone's seen it.
And they kind of bring their own perspectives to it, because that's the piece, is like the experience of it. And I think with Josh's like mission of having a space for people to experience art, I think that goes along with it.
Yeah. And what would you like to say about 507 Gallery?
I think 507 Gallery is a space where I think we're trying to form almost like an ecosystem, like a new culture, a
third space.
Yes, a third space. Yeah, and it's and I think pairing 507 with Thirst, because it is in Thirst Coffee Shop, although we are separate, is great, because it's forming this culture of creatives, people that think outside the box, people that don't fit nicely into the culture that is maybe prevalent in Waco, people that view the world differently, and we welcome that. We celebrate that. I would say that is a lot of what I want to create at 507. So with every exhibition, there will be a lot of intention behind not only the art being challenging, but also it's meant to form culture and form community and form connection. So that's kind of what
that's what we're going for.
That's what it's going for. That's what we're going for. And I wanted to piggyback off of what Kevin was saying real quick, because he mentioned the human part of it. I think a huge part of his work is what a part that I'm excited about is the human connection part of it. We've talked a lot about that, just us two. And what I'm referring to is like how in our world right now, it's hard to connect. There's so much information. There's so many. We always have something that we're trying to get out of an interaction, almost, as bad as that sounds. So it's hard to connect with people, and how like fuzzy that is and confusing that is. And I think that's a lot of what Kevin is trying to speak to. And his work is purposeful in that it's meant to kind of speak to that confusing element, and challenge you to look closer at the work.
Yeah.
Like when I asked him about it, literally last night, he was like, he wants to challenge the concept of reading.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't take the time to read and to look closer at things and to ask questions.
Yeah, I saw some of the lettering pieces that were super amazing.
A lot of the messages in the pieces are actually quite simple, but I think just working as a teacher, I think we take for granted that not everybody will get the same thing or get the same level of connection from pieces or from any text or anything like that. And I've seen a lot of students struggle with that skill, but really I don't think that as we grow older, a lot of people really don't, I don't think that we, I guess, harness or make that skill a priority or so I think that definitely that's been a big influence. Is a lot of it will be hard to read because there's no punctuation or you don't really know when a thought starts and where it stops. So I'm just really interested to see, because
it's kind of, sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of weird. Now that I think about it, it's almost like we give up that concept of being a student after we finish school.
Yeah. Very much so.
I think, one of the things that people say is you get out of education what you put in. And I think that's what's going to be interesting for me to see in these, how people interact with the pieces, is that you will get what you kind of bring in or put into it. So.
Yeah. Are you going to do kind of like an artist talk, or is it just going to be more come up, hang out, chill vibes? What's to expect?
That's a good question. Josh asked me if I wanted to maybe just maybe have pre-prepared questions, but I just kind of told him if the audience has any questions, let them ask it, and I'll be there to answer. And I don't want to guide them into a thought process or an idea. I really am interested in what they'll get out of it.
All right, cool. I love that.
I think there'll be a conversation.
Well, that's fantastic. And again, what time, where is it, and all the details?
It's at 507 Gallery at the back of Thirst Coffee Shop. Its opening night will be Friday, 6 to 8.
All right, perfect. Great. Well, with that, thank you so much for sharing. We're just going to take a quick break. Oh, just kidding. Go ahead.
A few more details about the event. We will have food. We will have birria. And we will have mocktails.
Ooh.
We will have some special mocktails as well. And we will have coffee.
Mm-hmm. The most important thing.
So come ready to eat, chill, hang out, maybe have some human connection, if you're into that. We'll have music. I think it'll be a great time.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. And now for a word from our sponsors.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
And we have a new podcast for you. What's it called, Caroline?
Bloody Happy Hour.
It's going to be your new favorite guilty pleasure. We're going to talk about some bloody stuff. Serial killers, true crime, rapists. Why not join us? We'll have a good time.
You literally never know. I don't know what I'm going to say. Bloody Happy Hour. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, I'm Blair.
And I'm Brittany. And we're the host of
By the Cover Podcast. We cover everything from mysteries, thrillers, romance, chick lit, and even some smut.
Don't forget the smut.
Yeah.
We're so excited to get this thing going and share this with you guys. We've been talking about this for months, and it's finally happening.
Yes.
Special shout out to Rogue Media for helping us with this.
For sure. For sure. You can find us on Instagram at bythecover_podcast.
You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok, so don't forget to give us a follow on those two also.
And we are so excited to dive into some of our favorite books and share those with you.
We can't wait. Hope you love it.
What are we doing here, Rusty? What are we gonna do?
Yep, we're doing the King of the Hill rewatch podcast.
King of the Hill
Yes, sir.
rewatch podcast. Yeah, so we're gonna go through one episode at a time. Come along for the ride with us,
Come check it out.
and give me a good like Dale Gribble quote to go out on. Wingo,
Yeah, Wingo.
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 All right, well join us for the King of the Hill rewatch podcast.
Deep in the heart of Texas, that drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
And now, back to the episode. All right, and we're back. Thank you guys again for sharing all the details about this upcoming event. One of the questions I love to ask when we get back from break is, what is something you would like to see more of in Waco? Whoever wants to start.
I mean, I want to see more culture. I want to see more.
You can also just say Trader Joe's. That's fine too.
Oh yeah, Trader Joe's is great. I love Trader Joe's. Yeah, just more things happening.
Mm-hmm.
People being about like what their thing is, what their craft is, what their like be about it. Like do your thing, you know. Be an artist, be a musician. You know, create that restaurant that you've dreamed about. And also, yeah, I think that's one thing. I will say, I feel like there is like a kind of camaraderie in Waco though. Like people show up.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think, well, I grew up here in Waco, and I'm already seeing a lot more art than I did growing up.
Yeah.
I think either more people are willing to share that piece, or there's kind of an infrastructure now to support that.
Yeah.
And I think it's inspiring to see Josh come in and want to highlight like a Waco artist. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's very flattering for him to ask me to do this, because it's kind of like he's kind of trusting me as part of his dream, basically.
Yeah.
So, and he's helping me out at the same time. So, but I think that in terms of the just the art community in Waco, I'd really love to see a lot more local artists be highlighted.
Yeah.
And, you know, out there.
I love that. That's fantastic. And what has it been like for you also as well, being a POC member of our community and getting your artwork out there?
It's definitely, I think if the time to show it was, you know, ever occurred, I think it's happening now in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I think that people are open to kind of destroying that single voice, you know, so that, you know, a lot of the things that I explore is kind of like a plurality of truths, like everybody being able to share that or highlight that, and it being validated, or at least not, thought of as something apart from our experiences, because there's like kind of universality in everybody's experience, even though the paradox is that everybody's individual experience is different. So right now, I think that definitely, maybe subconsciously, my work actually speaks to that a lot.
I love that. Yeah, that's fantastic. And with 507 Gallery, you are just getting started and going, but what is one of your goals to achieve by the end of the year? It can be qualitative, quantitative, superficial, not so, whatever.
I think one of my goals is to create a core group of artists. And within that core group, being able to extend and to like go on the outskirts of cultures to grab these artists. And also to connect with artists in San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth area.
I love that. That's fantastic. And really just having those goals for reaching further beyond our community as well. I always tell people one of the best things about Waco is we're a melting pot. We have a little bit of everything. And often the creative story is that they'll leave Waco and then come back. And I'm like, yes, you can leave, but as long as you promise to come back and bring a little bit of that with you. So it's really good getting to see that. And I know this is like my soapbox time, but I always say like we're at such like a critical point right now in Waco. Like if we do not continue to strive forward, we're going to fall behind. Like we are boiling over, and if they do not do anything to fix it, it's not going to work that way.
I agree. I think that there's definitely like an energy and want for creatives that either represent the town or like ideas that would speak to us, because I don't know if it's necessarily been tapped in the best way possible, or I just feel like, working in schools and like both of my parents were teachers too. I think that there are some things that are presented in an art gallery that would not necessarily speak to everybody in our community.
Yeah.
And so I think like having a wider reach, or like representing all those different viewpoints should be like kind of a priority.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, that just speaks to what a gallery is, as art is subjective. But that's fantastic. I know you kind of already talked about it, but like building this community, is there anybody you want to shout out that's helped you along this journey? I also say you can shout out your mom, your dog, or your grandma, or all of the above. But is there anyone you want to shout out that's helped you along this?
I would like to shout out my brother. I think that we have had kind of like partly this parallel journey, but also sometimes it's good to kind of talk to somebody who has different ideas about art and how to present it, and who it's supposed to be for, or who it's supposed to reach. And having that person has really been very good for my trajectory, like, or where I want to go.
Yeah.
And so, that him and basically the tiny art community that I've been able to be a part of here in Waco, which includes Josh. I think that it is just the beginning, and hopefully we can make some good stuff to share.
Yeah. And is there anybody you would like to shout out as well?
Well, I wouldn't be here if Yasmin, my girlfriend, wouldn't have got a job at Magnolia. So, shout her out. Andreas for basically giving me this opportunity to create this space.
I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, just being surrounded by all these amazing people in our community is what helps us continue forward. What is some advice you would give to someone who was either wanting to get their show, get their art on display, wanting to show, wanting to start a gallery? What is your advice?
Just do it.
Nike.
Nike. But really, talking to the others, I think we all share kind of this sentiment of like, we don't need to ask for permission. Like, you just have to do it. And I think what comes after that, you can't necessarily control, but you can control what you go after, what you're doing. Yeah, what you're doing.
I think because I've always been into kind of exhibition work, I think just like self-reflection has always been huge for me if I'm working on a body of work. So kind of reflecting back on your life and thinking about your story, or think about what aspects of life draw you. And I think you can kind of create your own niche from there.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. I think with our world nowadays, how everything is online, there's so much you can kind of just imitate, and it's really easy to be like, oh, my work has to look exactly like that, or it's not good. I don't think that's really true, because your work can be, you can still draw inspiration. I think it's good to draw inspiration, but definitely try to reflect, read, travel. I think all those things are really, really good for folks that consider themselves an artist. And also, like, I love the word artist, and I feel like there's a lot of people I'll call them artists, and they'll be like, no, I'm not an artist. I think most people have an artistic side, a creative side.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to like take that word back and like encourage people to own it.
I think creativity is kind of like your birthright.
Yeah.
Like it is something that it's our human power.
Yeah.
And I think the trick or the lie that people get told is that if, they might have done like a drawing that a teacher or somebody said, oh, that's not, this isn't for you. Maybe you should stick to something else. And I think that's the worst disservice that we could do to our kids who are kind of just exploring. And but yeah, I think part of that is definitely, if you're surrounded by people who support like your exploration or like your self-expression, it's a lot easier. Like if you surround yourself with people that are kind of like-minded, or just find that community, or make it, just like what Josh is doing.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And again, going back to the online element, it's so important for connectivity. Go ahead and, of course, plug yourself. Give us all social media, where we can find you, find more information about the event, all the things.
I did want to say one more thing about that last element. I do, within 507 Gallery, I do want to invite families and youth out to these events with the conversation of creativity. That was such a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
So when, at a young age, when youth feel encouraged that they have this gift, I think it transcends so far into their 20s, 30s, 40s. So I hope that within all these outstanding creatives, there's families and youth being a part of this.
I love that.
But so at 507 Gallery on Instagram, there will be more information on the name 507 in the coming weeks. And you can find me at Joshua Wayne Collins on Instagram as well. That will be more photography and storytelling, but also highlighting artists through my personal page and 507 Gallery and Thirst Coffee Shop. And that's at Thirst, THRST Coffee Shop. And yeah, that's where to find me. And there will be a website coming soon from 507 Gallery as well.
Perfect.
You can find me at kevinkit.art.
All right,
on
perfect.
Instagram.
Yeah, and is there anything else you want to share with our listeners today?
No, just thank you for having a conversation with us and like giving us the opportunity to kind of tell everybody about the next show.
Yeah, of course.
Just have a great Friday.
Yay. Join us. It's going to be fun. And thank you guys again. I really appreciate your time and you guys coming and talk today. Thank you. Find us everywhere on all social media platforms, KNOW_Waco. Check us out at roguemedianetwork.com and we're on YouTube under Rogue Media Network. Check out nowaco.com.